Okay, so I'm going to start over here by the doorway where you enter from the crew lounge, and I'm just going to say that at this point here, when you enter the train room, you should feel like you're in West Virginia to a certain extent. If at least you should feel like you're in the mountains where there's a greenery and stuff like that. And if you examine the rolling stock very closely, you should realize you're in the 50s. But as you walk in, I'm going to back up here a little bit. To the left of the entrance, boy, this is backwards on my phone. To the left of the entrance is the Kanawha River Valley. And that is distinguished by the brown carpet and the green carpet. So I'm going to walk down the Kanawha River here, and on the left-hand side is the, in real life, that's the New York Central main line, which in my railroad is also the V&O. The V&O, the Virginia and Ohio, Allen McClellan's railroad, had a reciprocal agreement with the New York Central because the V&O ran right along the north side of the Kanawha River like the New York Central, and so they shared the trackage rights. And so this is Alloy Yard here, and I think you might be able to hear this little locomotive, the switcher, the V&O switcher, 203. And all of this area right in here was scenicked by Allen McClellan. So including the Firth Oil platform, transloading platform there. As we go down here, there's several structures that he scratch built or kit built. Right there, a plumbing company. And he scratch built this building here, and the awning company, which has been resurrected from a previous life. And an oil loading. This is Marshall Chemical. Actually, it's a chemical loading platform that he scratch built with all the various locations for the different chemicals. The tower that you see is DB Tower, DB meaning Deepwater Bridge Tower, which was the end of the Virginian Railway. It terminated at DB Tower on the north side of the Kanawha River. As we scan toward the south, you come across the Kanawha River here and Deepwater Bridge. And so I'm trying to get some perspective here. And you can see kind of the sky reflecting off of the river down there. This is an area that I modeled very specifically because it's very characteristic of the Virginian. The Virginian blasts out of that tunnel portal, crosses Route 61, crosses the C&O Railroad underneath that trestle, and then crosses the Kanawha River. So on the south side of the Kanawha River is the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad, which runs over to Deepwater. And that in the distance across the aisle over there is Deepwater. And I'll get to that in a second. But the C&O Railroad comes along the Kanawha River on the south side, crosses under the Virginian, and then runs along the south side of the Kanawha River, I've modeled Montgomery. This is a little bit out of place, but the town of Montgomery and the station there and the C&O connection at Montgomery, and the C&O runs again along the south side of the river, and then runs into staging. So let's talk about staging here. I tell people, think about my railroad as a stage, as a theater, excuse me. Think of it as a theater. And every theater has a staging area to the right, off stage left, off stage right, off stage rear, that sort of thing. And so that's our staging areas, and everybody, you are all familiar with staging yards. And so there's a 6-track staging yard through that tunnel portal. Now let's follow the Virginian Railway. I'm going to come back here to the Kanawha River. The Virginian Railway crossed the Kanawha River here, and there's DB Tower. And we're going to cross the river here, go through the tunnel portal. And so we're heading railroad east, but actually geographically south when we cross the Kanawha River. It loops around and comes out this tunnel portal right here and heads on up river to, actually downriver, to the town of Page. So I'm going to follow the Virginian, which is the upper track, and I'm going to go through this tunnel portal. We actually added the tunnel portal after it was after the track was put in, because just to break up the scenery a little bit. So I say you know how they daylight a tunnel portal on the real railroads? Well, we nighttime that tunnel portal, that stretch of track. So we're coming around here, and we're going to come into the town of Page. And so here's the town of Page. There's the yard at Page. And as we come along here, I'm going a little bit fast. There's the houses in town. Here's the station at Page. And then here's the engine facility at Page. And one of the characteristics of Page was that it had a three-stall engine house, and I was very meticulous in designing this track arrangement here to include that 3-stall engine house. And as we come around here, you can see the tracks make a Y. Page originally had a turntable, but when the locomotives got so large, they couldn't turn them on the turntable. So they extended the track and made a Y out of it. And I'm coming around then the town of Page, and we're going to start climbing up the mountain. And here's a little service station along the track. And now this is Oak Hill Junction right here, where this other track comes in, and a little town of Kincaid, a little operating area here. And I'm gonna kind of cut this a little bit short here and not follow everything. But here is another structure that Alan McClellan built. And this structure was on the original railroad, on his original V&O railroad. And I'm trying to get in. You can see the Dayton Sure Grip and Shore Company. And so he has taken over and has modeled all of this. And as you can see, he's added on to it in the back here and added lights to it. And one interesting little facet is you can see this unloading platform right here. That's the inside of a cereal box. So he is still very, very creative in all that. And so now we're coming around here, little switching area called Kincaid, but the main line goes on the upper level to Pax, the town of Pax. And again, this is a really neat little switching area right up in the town of Pax. The let's see, Glenjean Local switches this coming out of Carlisle. And this is basically one of your time saver switching locations. It takes a good 45 minutes to do all the switching at this location. Then from the town of Pax, denoted by the water tower there, we're going to cross over the Swingy Trestle. And this trestle was made out of 1-inch square tube. And then it goes into the town of Eccles here. This is what I call a nod under. It's not a duck under. I don't want to have any duck unders during operating sessions, but this is a nod under, so you can nod under here and go to the town of Deepwater over here. We're getting back to the C&O, and this is one area that it really is photogenic. When you consider on the left-hand side, you've got the I guess it's on your right-hand side. The upper level is the V&O New York Central, and on this lower level, this is Deepwater, and in the middle is the Kanawha River. So I am now, I'm going to turn around here, and you have the C&O Railroad down here. You have the V&O New York Central up here, and they have to go into staging. And the thing is that I needed to have a staging area for both of them, but I needed to have the Kanawha River separating them. And so my artist friend who did all the backdrops, John Listerman, I didn't know how to terminate that. So he suggested that just let them disappear into darkness. And so that's what I did. They just go on into a dark area. And so you pick up your trains or terminate your trains through that dark area. And above that then is the town of Eccles. And I'm going to duck under here again, or excuse me, nod under. There's the town of Eccles. And I'm having a hard time with the reversal. Okay, that tunnel portal leads to a 3-track staging yard for the mines up at Eccles. And we're going to come down the mountain on the other side of the mountain over here. And we're descending down, and here is Maben and the Ritter Lumber Company, which was a significant industry at one time on the Virginian. And the main line disappears through that tunnel portal right there, and then loops around. This is what I call a herniated helix. It loops around the back of the back by the wall, and then comes out a tunnel portal at this end. So this is one continuous loop, but it's a helix, but it's only one loop, and it's herniated, so, because you can see most of it. And we're coming by Maben again here, and then the Mullins smokeless mine. Actually, the tipple is back there. And as we come around this way, We have the town of Mullins. And then kind of the signature area here is the Mullins Motor Barn. And this is where the electrification started going eastbound. And this is where they serviced all their electric locomotives. And when the Norfolk and Western took them over, well, actually in the latter eras, they also serviced diesel locomotives here, the train masters. I'm running kind of fast, but there's a lot to talk about, and I don't want to take up everybody's time. So we're going to run around the main line, and here I've got car cards and waybills next to cards as I'm staging for the next operating session, which I hope happens. So then we come through the freight yard and into the coal yard. And so there's a 7-track coal staging yard marshaling area here at Elmore. This is Elmore. And again, going eastbound, south, go through the, go around an aisleway, which actually just loops around and comes over here to the main line at Trestle. And at Trestle, there is another tip. But the major part of the railroad is out here in the train room, but I wanted to be able to have staging back in the workshop and mechanical room. So I put a hole in a wall back here, and I'm going to go real quick. So just maybe close your eyes if you get dizzy. I had to get from the train room into the workshop, and so I had to go through the dispatcher's office. So I put in a false wall and a window, and so the dispatcher can sit here and watch trains go by going into staging.
Afternoon ritual.
Now I'm going to go through the next wall, put a whole wall back here in the mechanical room, which is furnace room and stuff like that. So that main line comes through the wall here. And I have, at the urging of my friends, used every square inch that I could possibly use. So I got a maintenance away facility there. I got a building here. And then the track goes behind the furnaces. And if you can see, it runs behind the furnaces and runs behind the hot water heater and comes into this area here. And this is the beginning of the Roanoke Staging Yard. And that pokes another hole. I poked another hole through the wall there. And now this is the Roanoke staging area. And a friend of mine, just urged me to use every square inch again. So I had a spray booth here, and we wanted to put an engine facility over it. It was too tall, so I had it cut down by a metal worker. But you got to exhaust the spray booth somehow or other. So we brought it up right in the middle of the engine facility, and the exhaust for the spray booth is right there. And I can bring a hose down from up here and connect it to that exhaust, and it exhausts outside. And it's amazing how much little backdrops that those picture backdrops make. That's a concrete wall behind here, but they really bring out the industrial look of Roanoke. And my most recent project here is the signal bridge coming out of Roanoke right there. And I'm representing the Norfolk and Western on one track in against the wall there, so you can see the Norfolk and Western style signal. And we wanted to expand. We wanted to get more tracks. So there's all the empty hopper cars, and my friend suggested that we extend that staging yard over here, and so we did that. And Alan McClellan suggested that we make 2 long tracks. So the 2 back tracks are exceptionally long. And then here's a freight station we just recently put in, the New River Freight Company. And you can see some of the details on it. And I have an electric locomotive servicing facility here that we put in some time ago as well. So that's the tour, guys. I'm about done. Oh, and then of course the dispatcher's office that I quickly ran through with the dispatcher's panel. Let me just continue just 1 minute. There's the Virginian dispatcher's panel. And the V&O, I'm going back into the mechanical room here where I just was. Here is the Virginian and Ohio dispatcher's panel. So Alan McClellan sits here at this panel and dispatches the V&O. Okay, that's it.
Thanks, Gerry.
Impressive.